Would you rather be a loyal corpse or a living traitor? In the dying days of the Han dynasty, one man dared to ask that question. He did not have the blood of kings, but he had the brain of a god. He is the most misunderstood genius in China history. Some call him a tyrant, others call him a savior. But before the world feared him, he was just a young man with a hidden dagger walking into the bedroom of a monster. Welcome to 81 Chinese Generals. I am Silas. Today we decode the man who redefined power. Subscribe now to master the mind of the hero of chaos. This is the first rule of Chinese generals. Quotes, I would rather betray the world than let the world betray me. Stay with us, because the truth about his heart is far more dangerous than his sword. The year was 189 AD. The capital was screaming under the boots of the tyrant Dong Zhuo. While every other official wept in their wine, Cao Cao acted. He carried the 7-star dagger, a gift meant for a killer. He stood over the sleeping monster, the blade reflecting the cold moonlight. But fate is a cruel mistress. A reflection in a mirror betrayed him. Dong Zhuo woke up. In that heartbeat, Cao Cao didn't panic. He knelt. He offered the dagger as a gift. He smiled while his heart was thundering with the rhythm of death. He escaped the city on the fastest horse, leaving behind his life as a servant to become a master of his own destiny. This is the origin of a legend. On the run, Zhang Liang. No, Cao Cao found shelter with an old family friend. He heard the sharpening of knives in the kitchen and thought the trap was set. He struck first, killing everyone. Only then did he see the truth: they were sharpening knives to slaughter a pig for his feast. Remorse, no. He looked at the bodies and uttered the words that would haunt history. I would rather betray the world than let the world betray me. It wasn't cruelty. It was a survival code written in blood. He realized that in a world of chaos there is no room for mistakes. He burned the house and rode into the dark, leaving his humanity behind to become the architect of a new world order. Cao Cao knew that an empire is not built by a single hand, but by 1,000 minds. He did the unthinkable. He issued a decree: recruit the talented, regardless of their past. He didn't care if you were a thief or a traitor. If you had a brain, he had a seat for you. He was building a meritocracy while the world was obsessed with royal blood. Thousands of soldiers and scholars flocked to his banner. He was no longer a fugitive. He was a storm. If you are enjoying this journey through China history, give us a like and tell us, is it better to be loved or to be feared? Cao Cao chose to be effective. He was the first to realize that loyalty is bought with respect, but power is kept with genius. The year was 200 AD. The north was owned by Yuan Shao, a man with 110,000 elite troops. Cao Cao stood against him with only 20,000 men. The odds were 5 to 1. The world waited for Cao Cao's head to roll. But while Yuan Shao counted his soldiers, Cao Cao counted his opportunities. He didn't attack the army. He attacked their food. In a midnight raid at Wuchao, he burned the enemy's supplies to ash. He watched the flames dance in his eyes as a massive empire crumbled in a single night of fire. It was a masterpiece of strategic patience. He proved that a small flame placed correctly can consume a mountain of arrogance. In the world of Chinese generals, quotes, victory is a game of fire and shadows, not just numbers. Generals spend their nights counting bodies. Cao Cao spent his nights writing poetry. On the eve of his greatest battles, he would stand at the bow of his ship, wine cup in hand, singing to the moon. He was a man of jade and iron. He wrote about the shortness of life and the vastness of the sea. This duality made him terrifying. How do you defeat a man who can compose a masterpiece of literature while planning the execution of 10,000 enemies? He believed that to lead men's bodies, you must first understand their souls. His poems weren't just art. They were his soul laid bare, a haunting reminder that even a tyrant can feel the cold wind of time. But even gods can bleed. In 208 AD, at the Battle of Red Cliffs, the world conspired against him. He had 800,000 men, a wall of ships that blocked the sun, but he was defeated by a single element: fire. His ships, chained together by his own command, became a funeral pyre on the Yangtze River. He watched his dreams turn to smoke. Most men would have surrendered or died. But as Cao Cao retreated through the mud of Huarong Trail, he laughed. He laughed at the genius of his enemies. He laughed because he knew that a single defeat is just a lesson for the next victory. He survived because he refused to let failure define his spirit. Cao never took the throne for himself. He was smarter than that. He held the emperor as a guest in his capital, using the royal seal to command the world. He was the prime minister, the duke, the king of Wei, but never the emperor. He held the power of a god without the target of a crown. He was the ultimate master of puppets, pulling the strings of a dying dynasty to build a foundation for his sons. He knew that the name of traitor was a small price to pay for the reality of order. In the chaos of China history, he was the only one who realized that a title is a shadow, but power is the light that casts it. He aged, the hero of chaos became the loneliest man in the world. He had killed his friends, his rivals, and even his own family to maintain the peace of the north. He looked at his empire and saw a graveyard of his own making. He was the jade-like ghost who had survived every assassination, every battle, and every betrayal. But he could not survive time. In his final days, he did not ask for a grand monument. He asked for a simple burial with no treasures so that his grave would never be robbed. He died as he lived, calculating, practical, and 2 steps ahead of his enemies. He was a man who traded his soul to save a civilization from itself. Cao died in 220 AD, but his shadow still looms over every strategist today. He was the man who turned a crumbling world into a foundation for the future. Was he a villain? Perhaps. But in the heart of chaos, a saint is often useless while a villain is necessary. I am Silas. Thank you for joining us on this epic journey through 81 Chinese generals. Subscribe and hit the bell to witness our next legend, the man of honor Guandu. Remember, this final Chinese general's quotes: "Success is not about being right, it is about being the last one standing. Stay sharp, stay ruthless, and never let the world betray you." Cao Cao's legacy offers a masterclass in the art of talent and strategic adaptation. In leadership, he teaches us that talent knows no boundaries. Never judge a man by his past, judge him by the value he brings to the mission. His philosophy, "I would rather betray the world," is not blind cruelty but an extreme vigilance against the risks that could destroy the collective. In a volatile world, kindness without strategy is suicide. Like Cao Cao, you must use inner stillness to command external chaos. His ultimate truth remains: he planted ruthlessness to harvest order, choosing to wear the mask of a villain just to save the big picture. To win the future, one must sometimes sacrifice the present heart.